Hello friends, this is Wakeangel2K1 coming at you with another toy review. This is another figure that was sent to me by Zeus the Fox. It is the Bandai Shodo Lillymon figure. Remember when I posted the Bandai Shodo Digimon fail where I was supposed to get that pack that had the Angewoman figures in it, but they weren't in there? This is from that same series. Because although the Angewoman and Magna Angemon figures weren't available in the stores where Zach was, he was able to find me a Lillymon, which I understand was the last one they had in stock, so hooray for me. Now, to some of my fans out there, yes, I actually am a Digimon fan. Digimon was one of the first real isekai animes that I had ever seen when I was a kid, and I know it was probably just localized around the same time as Pokemon as a cash-in, but it was a really legitimately good anime, and I really liked it. Unfortunately, I didn't really collect a lot of Digimon toys as I was a kid because, well, most of the figures that they sold around the time weren't really things that were in my wheelhouse, like poor articulation, gimmick heavy. Like a lot of the Digimon toys from when I was a kid were either like statues that were meant to interact with some pretend Digivice thing, or like they didn't look a lot like the characters from the show because they had to incorporate some transformation thing for the digivolving action. So like collector grade figures, that just wasn't really a thing they did back then. But they're doing it now, and Lillymon was one of my all-time favorite figures. One of my favorite Digimon, certainly of the originally Digidestined. Although, personally, my favorite from back in the day was Kabuterimon. I kind of had a thing for the giant bug monster things, but, well, you know, like, I always did kind of like the fact that that giant cactus with boxing gloves, Togemon, evolved into this little barely human-sized flower fairy girl, and yet was so much more powerful. I kind of love the whole thing that she had going on. Now, these figures, the Bandai Shodo, are supposed to be $10 to $12 each, and you can find them in Barnes and Nobles. But other than that, they're almost impossible to find anywhere. If you try to look up the Bandai Shodo figures and try to buy them anywhere online, you can expect to pay $25 to $30 or even more for a single one. Like, they retail for $10. Like, that is one of the most ridiculous markups I've ever seen. And yeah, it's basically the same series of figures as the Bandai 66mm Mega Man figures, like the Volt Nut that I use to make the Emerald or Gemerald customs. So, like, I can't believe how highly marked up these things get if you can't find them. And, of course, I live in the Bronx, and our only Barnes & Noble shut down a few years ago to get replaced by a Saks Fifth Avenue, which also shut down because nobody needed that either. We liked Barnes & Noble. I can't believe that they shut it down. I don't know. So anyway, yeah. Let's get her out of the box. I already did the thing where I built the figure. They come partially disassembled, but, you know, we're just getting ahead here. And this is the... this is Lillymon. Oh my god, it's so cute. Hold on. Wait, let me... let's do a quick jump cut. Okay, so here is a quick size comparison so that all you guys have a little bit of context of how big this figure is. This is a Loyal Subjects Ellen Ripley figure, the same kind that I used to make the customs of Bunny from a while ago. This is something two things that everybody should be familiar with: the 2.5-inch Classic Sonic and the 4-inch scale Tails figure from the Jakks Pacific line. As you can see, she's about that size. What do all these figures have in common? They all retail for $10 or less, as does she. So you can see why I would not be willing to pay $30 for a figure this size. It's very nice looking, but it's just very small. It's like not worth that much. Like $30 is something that you would expect to pay for a Voyager-sized Transformer or like a collector grade figure. not a little buildable thing like this. The people who are trying to distribute these things online have really got to pull their heads out of their butts. Alright, so let's get everything out of the way now that you have that context and take a closer look at the Lillymon figure, because despite the small size, they did not really skimp on any details. Oh, it's getting a little bit oversaturated. Come on, focus. Come on, camera. I believe in you. There we go. Her eyes are very nicely painted with the shine spots. They got the thorny details on her vine hair, which is also on her back. One flaw, the figure's leaf wings, if you take them off, she has head articulation, but with her wings attached, she can't really move her head because like they get in the way, they touch her hair. Yeah, she has those the little leaves, she has the flower wristlets, she has cute little hands, all the details on her flower dress are painted, those cute little fairy boots, which they kind of remind me of the boots of the elf archer from Goblin Slayer. I know it's a completely random reference, but yeah, kinda. So yeah, our favorite little flower fairy Digimon is actually looking pretty darn good. Like all the details of the character design are in there, and I highly appreciate that. It's like a very well made representation of the character. And posability. Head is on a ball joint, but I'd have to take the wings off. Let me just... Oh god, I hope I'm not going to break her on... Oh. Okay, I guess I can say that that's the negative. The one negative thing I will say about it, the peg that attaches her waist is kind of short, and it pops out of joint way too easily when you're turning her around. But aside from that, like, yeah. Her joints are solid. You see she's not flopping around at all. It's just yeah. With her wings off, you get much more articulation for her head. I suppose you can always take her wings off for like a non-flying mode, so she can move without her wings. Her shoulders have something akin to a Figma joint, which has plenty of range in all directions, and there's a bicep swivel. She has elbows that look a little bit bulgy, but they get well beyond 90 degrees of bend. I don't think there's anything in the wrists. The hands are very tiny. I'm not going to try and tempt fate there. There is a waist joint, which is her loosest joint. She has hips, and oh, the petals of her skirt. In principle, the petals of her skirt are flexible and they get out of the way, so you can move her legs through them. I'm just dismantling. This is not a figure meant for playing with. This is a figure you can pose and display. It is not a super playable figure. And oh, if anyone was wondering about panty shots, you're not going to be getting that because those are her hips in there. So yeah, this is not a fan service figure. Well, you know, not that kind of fan service, but it is. Look at me! I'm trying to break down her articulation. I'm just breaking her down physically. Hold on. Let's get that back on you. There we go. But yes, she has a lot of posability. The figure is a little bit easy to come apart, but you know, as long as you're gentle with her and you can get her into a cute pose that you like, and she will hold it. She might come apart a little bit easily, but she goes right back together again, so I'm not going to say that the figure is broken or anything. Very nice. For a $10 collector figure, this is great. Little thing for fans who grew up with the show and they... Oh, I'm putting it on the wrong side. Fans who grew up with the show and they want a more accurate representation of what the character looks like, free of any gimmicks, and capable of posing. Like, if they're looking for notes, maybe she could have had a flower cannon accessory you could have put her hands in. But aside from that, like, the one thing I can't seem to get off is her head, which would be the only thing I would want to come off because it would give me more room to put her wings back on. Jump cut! There she goes, fully assembled. And I am not going to break her. Like I said, all everything you saw me doing where I seem to be ham-handing her, like she goes back together again and all of her joints are still nice and solid. So, you know, that I wasn't breaking the figure in front of the camera. I was just proving how durable she really is. And you know what? She is a great little figure for $10. Yeah, like this would please any old fans of the show or collectors that don't have a lot of display room but still want. And like, you know what? Since most Digimon at the like champion or higher level are like huge kaiju size things, but Lillymon is about human size. If you had like a much bigger figure of Greymon, she would scale quite well with it. So this is actually a really great thing. I would really like to get my hands on the Angewoman and the Magna Angemon, and heck, even that War Greymon was pretty cool. But here's the thing. They're great figures for $10 to $12, but there is no way they're ever going to be worth $30. That's just an unbelievable asking price. I understand that these are technically import toys from Japan, but they are theoretically available at retail if you have a Barnes & Noble nearby. So do not fall for online scalpers. These figures are not that expensive. Do not feed the scalpers. It is possible to get them for much fairer prices. So if you're a Digimon fan, I say go ahead, but good luck on your hunting, because unless you have a bunch of Barnes & Noble nearby, they may be a little bit hard to come by. This is Wakeangel2K1 signing off.